This has been one of the busiest weeks in Virgin Voyages history, and it's all to do with the release of 5 very special itineraries in 2028, which we personally think will pave the way to the future of the brand. If this is your first time here, my name is David from VV Insider, which is a website all about Virgin Voyages, and we've been sailing for the past 5 years on the brand, so we know a lot about where the brand has been, and there's a few reasons why we think the announcement of these itineraries in 2028 show where the brand is heading, and I'm ready to share those thoughts with you. So today we're going to look at how those special itineraries marry up with some of those special voyages that have happened in the past, and why those past experiences could mean big things for the future. So to talk about how we got here, Valiant Lady's itineraries were announced for 2028, but there was a massive gap in her schedule. She will be based in Barcelona in summer 2028, but suspiciously there was no voyages listed between July and September, and that got people wondering what was going to happen. Well, with a little bit of investigation, we found that her home port was going to be in Amsterdam, which could have spelt some Northern European itineraries. And we were absolutely right. The announcement was made a couple of weeks ago that the home port for Valiant Lady will be Amsterdam in those few months where she sails away from Barcelona. The itineraries were also announced for those voyages, and they're looking to be incredibly special, with one of them even heading up right to the top of Norway into the Arctic Circle. Well, those itineraries were made available for pre-sale on the 13th of August and to the wider public on the 14th of August. And believe me when I say we have never seen a launch like this with Virgin Voyages before. This really was unprecedented. We did have a prediction here at VV Insider that this was going to be very sought after, so we were able to pre-register many of our sailors' interests in these voyages, and the response that we got from our pre-registration was really humbling, and it really helped people secure the cabins on the day. And what I mean by that is things were selling out, and they were selling out quickly. That very special sailing I was talking about that goes all the way into the Arctic, both the Mega Rockstar and the Rockstar categories sold out within a matter of minutes. Luckily, we managed to snag a number of cabins for those that registered their interest with us. Now, you might be wondering what all the fuss is about. Why are these sailings so special? Well, let's take a look at the 5 of them in a little bit more detail. So the first one sees Valiant Lady setting off from Barcelona on July 9th on her way up to her new home port in Amsterdam. This is a repositioning voyage that calls in to the top of Africa with Casablanca, heading up to an overnight in Lisbon, before calling at La Corona in Spain, then Cherbourg in France, and then finally Amsterdam. This one is especially popular for those that love a repositioning voyage, and if you're looking for a good deal, this is where the lowest prices per night can be found. Then from there, Valiant Lady heads off on her longest voyage of this season, which is a 12-night voyage exploring Scandinavia with a Stockholm overnight. Valiant Lady will leave Amsterdam on July 19th and then call into Oslo, Copenhagen, then calling into Gdansk in Poland before heading to Stockholm for 2 days. So that's a Stockholm overnight, which will allow sailors to spend the evening for dinner and drinks before heading back on board the ship. Then after a sea day, Valiant Lady will be calling into Warnemund, which is actually presented as Berlin in brackets, but it's 2 hours away from Berlin. It's really not going to be possible to visit Berlin in the time that Valiant Lady is stopping there, but I'm sure there are other attractions in that German port to get up to. After that, there's a call in Aarhus, and then straight back to Amsterdam. That is a 12-night voyage, and that is going to be one that's very popular with those that like a longer voyage to get the most out of both the ship and also the ports. You're really not compromising on anything there. Then after that one, there are 2 smaller voyages, starting off with a 7-night Norwegian Fjords voyage, and this one is incredibly popular as well. This one leaves Amsterdam on July 31st before calling into Molde, before heading up to Nordfjordet in Norway. And this is really where those postcards from those Norwegian voyages come from. This is where you're going to start to see those really dramatic fjord views with snow-peaked mountains either side of the fjord. We've done Norwegian fjord cruises in the past, and it is absolutely spectacular. On our very first cruise ever, we actually went to the Norwegian fjords on a Disney cruise on the Disney Magic, and we took an excursion that took us all the way up to a neighbouring mountain, and looking down the mountain into the fjord and seeing our ship look like a tiny toy in the distance was an incredible experience. And I think that's what's driving this incredible appeal for these voyages. It's this huge majestic scenery that you really only get in these northern regions. This itinerary also has a stop in Flam and Bergen before a sea day heading back to Amsterdam. Then on the 7th of August is another shorter 7-night voyage. This time is a little bit more cultural, and it's going to a few more stops where you can really stretch your legs in some of the ports. So this one's called Scandinavia and Hamburg, and really it's a shrunken version of that second itinerary I told you about. So this one will also visit Oslo and Copenhagen before another sea day and then a stop in Hamburg. So there's plenty to see on that itinerary before you head back to Amsterdam. And then last but not least, on August 14th, this is the real crown jewel of these itineraries. This is the big one. This is an 11-night voyage called the Arctic Circle and Norwegian Fjords. This is the one that everyone has been scrambling to get the cabin of their dreams for, because this one is the one that's going to take you all the way up to the Arctic Circle. So you're going to set up from Amsterdam, you're going to have a sea day, and then you're going to reach Bergen. This is your first Norwegian port of many. From Bergen, you're going to go straight up to the Arctic Circle. Now, there's going to be an Arctic crossing ceremony, and this is something that's very iconic of cruises that make this journey past the Arctic Circle. We do know that Virgin Voyages will commit to doing this Arctic ceremony. We don't know the exact details of what will be behind that, but we know there'll definitely be a Virgin twist to it. After this scenic day at sea, you'll be heading into Tromsø, which is one of the most northerly cities in the world, before venturing even more north and heading to Honningsvåg, which is a small port but right on the top of Norway. This is really as far north as Virgin Voyages has ever been and ever likely to go. So after you've explored those northern reaches, you're going to be heading back down the coast with some more Arctic Circle scenic cruising, before heading into a very popular port in Trondheim, then a stop in Dolsnes, and then a stop in Olden. This is such a great variety of Norwegian ports. Some of them we've personally been to before with other cruise lines, and I've got to say, these are some of the nicest ports when it comes to scenery and active excursions. So these ones are perfect for those that want to explore the outdoors and see that incredible scenery that Norway is just so famous for. Also, Norway has an incredibly rich culture of many different things. You've got ancient churches, you've got wooden carved trolls, you've got so much going on in Norway. It's absolutely one of my favorite places to visit, and I think doing it with Virgin Voyages is extra special. Now, it's important to remember this isn't Virgin Voyages' first time in Norway, but it is the first time that they're making Scandinavia and the Nordics the main part of their experience. Now, you may think I'm missing one of these itineraries out. Well, that's actually the repositioning voyage that goes back from Amsterdam to Barcelona. This was in the original announcement, but actually since then they've decided to cancel this one. It's likely going to become a charter cruise instead, possibly something by Atlantis, but we have no confirmation of what's happening with that voyage. We just know it's not for general sale. But if you're looking for more information on what's happening with that voyage, make sure you stay subscribed to our channel or sign up to our email newsletter on vvinsider.com, and we'll let you know what's going to go on with that voyage, as well as all the other Virgin Voyages news that's going on as well. Now on to why we think these itineraries represent such a change with Virgin Voyages. Well, it's all to do with this idea of these marvelous voyages, and this might be a term that you've heard before if you've been in tune with any of the Virgin Voyages content that's been going out. So what do they mean by marvelous voyage? Well, this tends to be the voyages that have a little bit of a different take on an itinerary, or even just a sailing that's built around something special. So just this week we've seen two marvelous voyages go ahead with the eclipse cruises. There was one up north from the British Isles to Iceland, and then there was also one in the Mediterranean as well. Now, what's interesting about these marvelous voyages is that they attract a little bit more attention than others when it comes to special activities and events. Just now on the Eclipse cruise, there's a very special activation going on with someone that we know very well, and that is Abi the hostess. So on the voyage that's heading up to Iceland, Abi the hostess has actually assumed a very different role, so she isn't a hostess on this voyage at all, she's actually Abi the Siren. Now Virgin Voyages are being very coy about what this actually means, but we know that Abi the Siren has been seen in many different events and different pop-ups and activations throughout this voyage. We've been keeping a close eye on Abi the Siren's socials to see what she's getting up to, and also hearing from those on board about what she's been up to as well. So we're going to be producing an article explaining what we know about the Siren and what to expect from her in the future. So make sure that you head over to our website and subscribe for that email newsletter, because an article will be going out about Abi the Siren and where she's been over the past few days on that eclipse voyage and what this might mean for the future as well. Other marvelous voyages that we know are coming up includes Sisters at Sea, which will be happening in February next year. This is where all 4 of the Virgin Voyages ships are going to be coming together for one very, very special moment. So Scarlet, Valiant, Resilient and Brilliant will be together in the same place for a very special event that will be attended by Sir Richard Branson himself. Now, it's been promised that they'll be announcing the future of the brand at this event. Now, of course, nobody knows exactly what that means right now, but many have speculated that this could be the announcement of either new ships or new destinations. So we'll be keeping a very close eye indeed on that, and we'll be on board one of the ships ourselves. But it's very clear to see that the reception of these voyages, including this week with the release of these Nordic voyages, has really struck a chord with the Virgin Voyages brand. Very recently, a social post by Nathan Rosenberg, the Chief Marketing Officer of Virgin Voyages, was released where he was on about how astounded he was at the response of these itineraries. And it really shows that those who sail with Virgin Voyages are looking for something different. Something that's a little bit different from those ordinary, still very good, but very ordinary Caribbean and Mediterranean sailings. We want something that's a little bit out there, something that's a little bit more interesting. And personally for me, it's really encouraging to see the response for these type of voyages that are a little bit out there, because it signals to the brand that we want more of that. We want to see new destinations and new things to do on board. So let me know in the comments, are there any destinations or any itineraries that you wish Virgin Voyages would sail to in the future? I've already got a wish list in my head of 100 different places I would love to go with Virgin Voyages, including a return to some of those destinations that they've been to before. But let me know what you think in the comments and join the conversation. You never know who's watching those comments, and it might give them some lovely ideas of where to head in the future. Now, if you're inspired to go along to one of those 5 very special new itineraries, there are definitely some cabins available, albeit the numbers are dwindling. But bizarrely, there's a really good loot offer available for each of these 5 voyages as well. Well, Virgin Voyages are giving you, as part of their Europe sale, up to $500 of sailor loot if you sail as a rock star, or $250 of sailor loot if you're in either a limited sea terrace or above. That's for those 3 longer sailings. For the 7-night voyage, you can get $50 if you're on a sea terrace or above, or $300 if you're in a Rockstar suite. Now that's already a huge amount of loot, and that's part of the Europe sale that's going on already. But actually, again, bizarrely, it's actually available for the VV Insider Sail Forward loot offer as well, where again, if you're on a limited sea terrace or above, you can actually get up to $200 of extra sailor loot as well. So to put that in perspective, if you choose a Rockstar suite on one of these longer voyages, you can get up to $700 in sailor loot to spend on anything on board. So you can gamble it away in the casino, you can spend it on treatment in the spa, you could spend it on perfume and makeup. It's entirely up to you what you do with that $700. But these deals genuinely baffle me because these cabins are going to sell anyway. But if you do want to lock down that extra sailor loot, just make sure you head over to vvinsider.com/book. And as long as you're checking out using the links on our website, you'll get a little pop-up which just confirms that you're happy for us to be connected to your voyage. But as long as you do that, you'll get up to $700 in sailor loot, depending on which cabin and which voyage you choose. So you not only get that, but you'll also get a few perks just by booking with VV Insider as well, which includes ad-free access to all of our content and tools, and the glowing feeling of knowing that you're helping support the work that we do here, which is to get all of this incredible news, information, content, tools out for free for every single sailor around the world. And we really appreciate your support. We've had some absolutely incredible feedback from our sailors this week about the support that we've offered them, especially during the launch of these very popular sailings. So thank you so much for your kind words this week. It really, really means a lot. Well, if you've been following along, you'll know that we've been in Alaska. We only got back last week, so it's been a very busy week, not only of this release, but also gathering all the news and information like we normally do. Now, we're putting together a video explaining what we thought of Alaska and the experiences that we had there, especially with those incredible ports and also the specific Alaska happenings events that have been going on the ship as well. I can't wait to put together that video for you and explain everything about Alaska from a VV Insider point of view. So make sure that you stay subscribed to this channel, and I'll be bringing that to you very, very shortly next week. And as ever, a huge thank you to everyone that came up on that voyage with all of your kind words, not only about the videos that we have here on the YouTube channel, but also the incredible information, the content, and the tools that we have over on vvinsider.com. Your incredibly kind words mean so much to us, and we really appreciate all the lovely feedback, so thank you so much. Well, the work doesn't stop there. We've got tons more incredible content coming out over the next few weeks, so again, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel to hear about all the Virgin Voyages and news and updates as it comes along, as well as some experiences from on board the ship as well. So I'm really looking forward to bringing that to you in the next few weeks. Well, thank you so much for coming along today. I hope those itineraries sound as exciting to you as they do to us. And until I see you next time, happy sailing.